Tainted love.
Today was like Peter, what?
King of Fractures. That's a good one.
I'm living a lie, and it's not the best thing for me. But anyone and everyone is gonna hear another story. I'm building a house of murderous intention to keep it all from coming down. I gotta focus my attention, 'cause confidence is key. Been violating trust. I'm making sure that I believe I'm doing what I must, which is attempting to kill the little boy inside. But as hard as I try, the child will not die. And I'm living down in the shits. I follow these pigs around, but I never get used to it. They keep building and building. Secular franchise. I wish I could see this film through someone else's eyes. 'Cause ignorance was bliss. But now I must adjust. These animals, they operate on jealousy and lust. I'm taking back what was lost. We all will not be tonight. I'm crawling my way to the surface outside.
Hello, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to this live stream. I hope the sound is okay, but I'm going to improve the quality even more by using headphones. All right. Okay, can you guys hear me? Please let me know in the chat. Does this sound fine? Let me know yes, no. How is it? Okay, we got 5 people on. Hopefully, there are going to be more in a little bit. Sound is good. Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure more people are going to come up. Okay, so like the title said, I'm going to talk about psychic abilities, what that means, and how to develop them. Right? Because there's an actual a way of becoming psychic. You know. I think the majority of people would look at psychic abilities and believe that you are born with them, or you're not born with them. But that's not true. It is not that only a select few of people um, have psychic abilities. Everybody has psychic abilities potentially, but um, it is true that some people have an easier access to them than others. And that is usually a result of who they were in a past life. Because um, when you um, when you reach a certain level of spiritual awareness uh, in your lifetime, it is likely that you will carry a lot of that knowledge with you into into the next incarnation. You know, uh, it is. I mean, literature, not just literature, but anecdotal evidence out there is just overwhelming that certain children are born with exact knowledge of who they were in their past lives. They know exactly what happened to them. They know exactly what job they had. Let's say somebody was the victim of a murder or something like that, and they're reincarnated. They're able to tell people where the body is hidden, and all of these things. So reincarnation, um, not just from you know, let's say. Uh, experiences like that, but also from personal experience, is absolutely a reality. Um, and I think most people, or a lot of people, would accept that true too. But the point is, everybody comes back with a different level of awareness, if that makes sense. And that level of awareness is dependent on what you were doing in the previous incarnation, right? But nonetheless, everybody is psychic potentially, and there are specific ways on how this ability can be awoken in the individual, right? And this is exactly what I'm going to talk about today. How to become psychic, and why would you even want to do that? Why do you want to become psychic? Well, I'm sure becoming psychic or working on developing your psychic abilities and hidden powers of the mind is not the right thing for everyone. I'm pretty sure about that. And the reason for that is because some people are just not ready for it, if that makes sense. It's um, let me put it like this: the whole universe um, and everything in it is one big energetic system. It's one big energetic machine, and we're part of it, right? Now, in order to be psychic, which means to be able to attain information that is not accessible through physical means to you, in order to be able to project your consciousness into locations and timelines and points in a time space continuum, which is not accessible to you through physical and conventional means, requires you to be very, very open to energy. Yeah. So you have to be open to, you have to be able to open yourself up to the big energy system. This is what we usually call, you know, um, a trance or an altered state, right? And the thing is that if you open yourself up like that, it's not just that you open yourself up to a larger system. You also have to open yourself up to your own unconscious contents. The stuff that is lurking and hiding and living in your own unconscious mind. You see. Now, traumas, fears, and many other things have a tendency to be lurking, hiding, you know, s- and then playing a hidden role in the unconscious mind. So, in order to become psychic, for a lot of people, this journey goes through shadow work. Now, shadow work is a very misunderstood topic. Shadow work is not. Let me put it like this. I'm not gonna say what it not is. I'm just gonna mention what shadow work actually is. All right. So shadow work is essentially step by step removing the energy blocks that are preventing the energy from flowing through us in a more powerful and potent way. So that we can access all those psychic abilities that I was just talking about. Right now, that requires shadow work, which means uncovering energy blocks and releasing energy blocks. Okay. So a lot of people are not ready to confront what's in their unconscious mind. And that is exactly why a lot of people are not ready um, for awakening their psychic abilities. See? Awakening your psychic abilities is not a scary thing. What scares people that are scared of that is what is lurking in their own unconscious mind, because instinctually they know that there is a lot of stuff within themselves that they have not dealt with. So that is essentially preventing people from accessing their psychic powers. So when you want to develop your psychic powers, you have to first and foremost work on yourself, and you have to explore your own unconscious mind. And as you do that, step by step, you will uncover and retrieve more of yourself. You will release more and more energy blocks. And as you do that, more energy can flow through you. And as a result of that, hidden abilities are awoken. It's like all of a sudden, hidden powers that were not accessible to you before become accessible, because your mind and your entire nervous system, they're able to work at a higher level now. You see. So this is essentially the process of developing psychic powers. So um, like I said, developing psychic powers is an internal work, and that goes through often uncomfortable territory. It is uncomfortable because everybody's hiding something from themselves, you know, and it is often uncomfortable. It is like negative memories from the past, fears, all kinds of things, and they need to be uncovered, removed, and then there's a lot of release, and the release that allows you to access more energy. Yeah. So very soon, very soon, I'm gonna begin teaching that again. I used to have a program that was called the Unbounded Mind, where I was teaching people meditation, but not just meditation. I was teaching them meditation specifically geared towards developing, generally speaking, the abilities that you need for magic, or you know, psychic abilities in general, right? And I'm gonna open up a program again where I'm gonna teach that. Yeah, I'm going to teach how to develop psychic abilities. Now, we're not going to call it psychic abilities, even though those are psychic abilities. I'm just going to call it mental coaching, or mind coaching, mind training program, or something like that. Even though it is going to be about developing your psychic abilities. Yeah, and there's so much hidden potential in every person. Um, I'm sure you heard of the saying that we only use like 10% of our um, of our potential. when it comes to the mind and its powers. And you know, I'm sure that number is quite accurate. It might even be less. And if you just uncover and retrieve a small percentage more and are able to use that, your life is going to change. Um, if you are able to use a little bit more of your abilities, uh, life will become much easier for you. Um, because see, you have everything within you to solve all the problems within your life and move towards what it is that you want. I believe that we're all at different levels. However, most people should not be at the level that they're at. They should be at a higher level, which means they have the potential to do much more and accomplish much more. But for some reason, um, they're blocking themselves, or something is going on in their mind that blocks them from accomplishing what it is that they want, from moving further. However, uh, that can be changed. It can be learned, and it is. I see it as my mission, which is part of my purpose, to help as many people as I can to uncover their own hidden potential and their own power. And that's why I want to put out this program. I want to help as many people as I can to get in touch with deeper levels of themselves, deeper powers of their own mind, and through that, improve their life. You know, um, hopefully, be able to take better care of the mundane stuff and make it easier for themselves. And then, as people become more capable of dealing with the mundane world, and it leaves more space and energy to do the things that they actually want to do. I'm a firm believer that most people in this world are actually good people, in a sense that they do want the best for, first of all, themselves, and then also for others. There are very, very few people who are intentionally evil, right? Most people, unless they're psychologically damaged, want the best for themselves as well as for the world and other people. And I believe, um, I can serve, uh, you know, the world, the humanity, the universe best in this way, where I teach people what I have uncovered, what I have learned about the mind in the last 20 years of my practice, and allow people to discover more of their own potential. You know, so that is what I'm going to do through this program. Yeah. Um, do you guys have any questions at this point before I continue? Anything that you want to ask? Anything that you want to know about this program? Anything about what I'm going to teach? Hmm. I'm just going to wait for some questions, right? And then I'm going to uh, continue explaining what I'm going to do with that program. What's the best way to do shadow work? Hmm. Yeah, the best way to do shadow work is um, You have to um, get your memory to kick back in, if that makes sense. Okay, so once again, shadow work is taking the conscious mind into those places in our memory that are uncomfortable. Yeah. So when we have a negative memory, um, there's sort of like a charge on that memory. It's like a strong charge and it's essentially, if this is our timeline in our memory, you know, because we do remember things chronologically. If you go back into your memory, you can, at this point, for instance, on your timeline, there will have been something that was a negative experience for you, and there's a certain amount of energy stored in that negative memory. Yeah. So the point of shadow work is to expose the conscious mind to this unconscious charge of energy, which is connected to negative emotions, right? And with each new confrontation, the charge gets smaller and smaller and smaller, right? So the mind has to experience it over and over again, which is not a lot, but a couple of times. And as it experiences that, the charge gets smaller and smaller and smaller, boom. And at one point, there is no charge there anymore. It's just a memory that doesn't affect you emotionally anymore. And at that point, it doesn't affect your unconscious mind anymore. See, when we have negative memories, you might not consciously remember, but your subconscious mind remembers. And because your subconscious mind remembers, it will unconsciously sabotage your behavior or influence your behavior. You know, example: you have a certain goal in the world, and you have to understand that your mind works through association. Okay, it's like a folder where positive and negative are stored next to each other. So whatever you think about, all the negative associations connected to it will be subconsciously triggered. Yeah. So you go through for a specific goal, but in the past you did not succeed with it, or maybe something did embarrass you in the past, connected to that goal. So unconsciously, all of those negative charges are going to be triggered, and your subconscious mind is gonna prevent you from moving into that direction. That's where procrastination is rooted. Okay, procrastination comes from that. If we procrastinate about a goal that we want consciously, it means that our unconscious is trying to prevent us from going there. Why? Because it associates negative memories from it, and it doesn't want to re-experience the negativity or the negative emotions. So what we have to do is we have to take the conscious mind into this negative memory and expose it to it. And as we expose it to it, energy is released. Okay, and then boom. At one point, this negative memory is no longer going to have an influence on the behavior of the person. It's just a memory that doesn't affect you anymore. It doesn't bother you. It doesn't. It's just an event that has no bearing on your decisions and your future outcomes. And that's what we call shadow work. And as you do that, you gain more and more control over the subconscious, and with that, energy can flow freely. Yeah. And of course, like what I said earlier, psychic abilities are a byproduct of that. How do you do that effectively? There are various techniques to do that. I'm just going to give you a few. Now, obviously, on the program, we're going to cover more in depth, but essentially, what you have to do is um, you have to find a way to um, distract the conscious mind so that the unconscious mind can start um, uh, bringing up the stuff that needs to be handled. Okay, the mind is a problem solving mechanism. So the reason why you dwell on things that happened in the past, negative memories or whatever, the reason why the mind dwells on those is because it's trying to solve the problem. It's trying to prevent that from happening again. Now, unfortunately, the mind is like it also learns. The more often something is repeated in the mind, the stronger it is ingrained in the pathways of the brain. So ironically, you want to prevent the negativity. You want the mind is trying to prevent this negative event from happening again. So it repeats it so that it can be solved, or you can prevent it from happening again. But at the same time, the negative memory gets strengthened again and again and again and again. So to the point where often it can occupy the mind for quite some time, right? If you don't really learn how to release that energy. Now, just because you stop remembering, or just because you stop thinking about it consciously, it doesn't mean that the memory is now gone. Your mind is still the mind is still dwelling on it subconsciously, and it is trying to avoid pain. So what you're going to do is unconsciously, your behavior is going to unconsciously move you away from that. You can see that in relationships happening oftentimes, or in all kinds of different behavior. Any type of behavior that is irrational and destructive is usually rooted in that. Yeah. So do you have one method on how to do that? Yeah, you could definitely. One method is yeah, the Vipassana meditation would be something that you could do. Vipassana meditation is essentially where you learn to observe the mind without getting engaged with the memories that are being triggered, right? So Vipassana, first of all, is basically just you take on a posture that you can maintain for, let's say, 30 minutes. And what you do is you basically just close your eyes and observe your breath. Now, observing means you don't judge. You just keep your attention on the breath, and you let the breath come and go as it wants to. Naturally, it's going to deepen. And as you observe it, fragments from your subconscious mind are going to come up, right? Now, the natural tendency of the mind is to attach itself to this fragment and to judge it, and to try to, you know, in some way or another, resist it. And through the resistance of it, you strengthen it. The Buddhists describe the mind as this ocean, you know, and the fragments from memories or projections or thoughts, they're like popping out of the subconscious mind like waves, and then they move away again. So the problem is that the untrained mind attaches itself to those waves that pop up, and through that they strengthen the process. So they get tied in with this wave now, and then it keeps moving, it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. And the more energy you give it, in terms of even resistance is energy that you give that um, that memory and thought, the stronger you make it. So Vipassana teaches you to create a distance between your thoughts and your consciousness, because thoughts and consciousness are not the same thing. You can be conscious without a single thought. Yeah. Consciousness and thinking are not the same thing. Consciousness is just awareness. All right. So you can train yourself to just be aware and have the mind do its thing. And if you don't attach yourself to the waves that pop up, don't resist them, you will see that they just show up and go away, and you will not be pulled into them. And you will have what they call equanimity, or it's just awareness. And as you do that, you can allow those thoughts to run their course. Sometimes it's just about sometimes they just want to announce themselves, but that's it. you know so Vipassana is a great way to learn that. But there are others too, other methods. But what we need to learn, I believe, is really just staying aware without getting attached to it. And that is one of the main things that we have to learn. It's also, see, when we receive messages the other side, or let's say any kind of psychic perception works in the same way. It comes through your subconscious mind, you see. And in order to receive psychic input, you have to have this awareness that is just aware, because the psychic input will pop up out of your subconscious mind. Now, if you haven't learned to stay aware and have this equanimity, you will attach meaning to it and you will distort the information. This is the reason why most people can't communicate with spirits, or as soon as they get a little bit of communication, they distort it, because they have not learned to have this equanimity, to stay non-attached. So all of these things tie in together. Yeah. Do we have some other questions? Isn't that what psychotherapy does? Not at all. No. Um, psychotherapy enforces the charge, so they make the charge stronger and stronger and stronger. Um, uh, hold on. Psychotherapy is actually doesn't help people at all. Especially talk therapy. It's complete bullshit. Because it doesn't see the person uh, as an energy being, which is what we are. We're energy for the most part. It sees the person as a. When you look at psychology and its theory, it's very much based on behavioralism. Behaviorism is essentially a very mechanistic view of the person. And even to this day in academia, they have a very much um, mechanical view of people. They see them as little robots and machines. You know, and it's bullshit. I know psychologists that say the exact same thing. Psychology and therapy, psychotherapy, for the most part, is complete bullshit. It's an industry. It's an industry. They come together with the pharmaceutical industry, and they make a killing. By giving, they come up with a new mental disease all day. You know, and it's big business. What's your best recommended to stay focused? To stay focused. It's my best recommendation to stay focused. It's a muscle. Focus is a muscle that you have to train. So you have the best. You have to learn and force yourself to become more focused, and then you will get better at it. It's like a muscle. Give yourself breaks. Um, I mean, when you're working on something, I work in the following way. Okay, it's very, very hard to stay focused on one task for more than, let's say, 120 hours, and that's 120. Sorry, 120 minutes, and that's a stretch. Okay, so when I work in chunks. So I work in like either 60 or 120-minute chunks, and then I take 30 minutes off and don't focus at all, and then I can refocus again. Um, that's more or less the natural rhythm of things, and that's how I like to do it. Yeah. Isn't that what psychotherapy does? I remember um, during my training, doing my occult training, and I studied psychology quite extensively, and all the different theories, and you know, Freud, Jung, and all those other guys. And yeah, psychotherapy unfortunately doesn't do that. Yeah, it really doesn't. The problem with psychotherapy is it starts with a pathological model of the psyche, and that is a reflection of the creators of the science, of course, right? Now, obviously, obviously, the creation is going to be a reflection of the creator, right? And psychology or psychotherapy is very pathological. It's very pathological, which is more. I mean, I'm not saying Freud was stupid. Freud was obviously a very intelligent man, however, a very sick man as well. All right, and come on, seriously, Oedipus complex. Every man wants to have sex with his mother. Like, come on, like this is just wrong. You kidding me? There was something seriously wrong with him. But he's also a product of his time. He was in one way he was a genius. On the other hand, he was just a sick person. And I mean, I'm not blame on him. All I'm saying is psychotherapy is a pathological model. You know, and it starts with the assumption that the subconscious mind and is pathological. You know, which is not true. I believe, very convinced that people in their healthy states are good people for sure. You know, and it is a matter of restoring that healthy state. You know, so yeah. Frank, does eating healthier release energetic blocks and boost manifestation? Does eating healthier release energetic blocks and boost manifestation? Yeah, eating healthier helps with everything. It raises vibration, clears up stuff for sure. Yeah, you have to understand that sugar is an addiction. It's an addictive substance. It's like a drug. Changes your gut, uh, your gut bacteria, and then creates a real addiction. So yeah, it would definitely help to eat healthier. I mean, I think the number one thing you can do to eat healthier and become healthier is to cut out sugar, which is apparently super hard for most people, which it really isn't. All you have to do is just eat natural stuff. Just eat actual food. That would fix the problem. Just eat real food, vegetables. If you don't want to be vegetarian or vegan, eat meat, vegetables, and fruits. That's it. And you're gonna get rid of most disease. You're gonna get rid of most psychological problems, or a lot of them. You know, it's really not that hard, but people make it more complicated. It's because it's an addiction. And sugars and everything, and people are so used to sugar. You know, so I thought Sigmund Freud was a huge narc. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Let me just see what else I have to say here. Try to figure out how to. Um, so first of all, who would be interested in that program, anyways? Who would be interested in that? Even though I actually already decided on that because a lot of people requested it and a lot of people love that idea. So I'm definitely going to put it out. But um, yeah. What do you mean? Okay, thanks. All right. Um, yeah, I'd really recommend you get on there. Okay. Love the recent class. Do you mean the money seminar? Is that what you mean? Frank, does meditating on. Okay, Donna says yes. Yeah. Last uh, Saturday, we covered the 14 steps to financial freedom. Man, that was really good. It was really good. Obviously, that goes without saying because the Bronze Dawn knows what the fuck he's talking about, right? Anyways, yeah, it was almost a 4.5 hour class on how to attain financial freedom, 14 steps. Value through the roof, absolutely. So I'm sorry you've been missing out. If you haven't been on there, you definitely missed out. But Donna took advantage of it, and she apparently loves it. Okay, that's good, Donna. Use it. Use it, and you're going to be financially free very soon, for sure. The steps work, guaranteed. It's just some of the steps are a little bit hard to work yourself through, especially the one with the purpose. But if you can get yourself to work through that, there's nobody who can stop you from becoming financially free, for sure. Frank, does meditating on the problem help? You should meditate on the solution, I guess. Probably helps better, more. Priceless info. Yeah, for sure. Thanks. Hi, Frank. Focusing on the problem solves it, right? No, focusing on the problem creates more of it. Whatever you focus on, you increase. So, what you need to do is you need to focus on the solutions. When you focus on the solution for a problem, you're going to create the solution. Whatever you focus on, you create and increase. Yeah. So, put your attention on what you want. Uh, Sir, are you providing the service of ritual for hire? No, I am not. I'm not providing ritual for hire right now. I do not. Yeah. So, um, this program is going to start very soon, um, and it will, you know, I still got to decide on a day and a time. I'm probably going to do it on Saturdays. I think Saturdays work well for most people, or Sunday. I'm going to think of it. What do you think of using psychedelics for shadow work? I think that is a fallacy for a lot of people. Um, it's also not helpful. See, here's the thing, my friend. The modern world is so disconnected from its traditions and the context in which most things have been done in the past. You know, let's look at tobacco. All right, tobacco is a plant that when it's used correctly is actually a teacher. The spirit of tobacco, and every plant has a spirit to it. When used properly with the right ceremony, is actually a teacher. It can definitely help you uh, with a lot of processes. However, look at how it has been used or is used in our culture. It's literally consumed. It gets consumed. It gets like it's complete completely unconscious usage of the thing. It's like a yeah, it's a misuse of the product. All right. Same with marijuana, and the same with entheogens. What you're referring to is something that is usually done in a completely wrong way. Okay, psychedelics, entheogens are supposed to be taken in specific ceremonies. And when we talk about ayahuasca, for instance, and other things, the ceremonies, the way they're done, it's not correct. It's not right to do it like that. It has to be a real setup. There has to be all kinds of preparations for it. There have to be all kinds of different things that make sure that the experience is actually beneficial to the person using it. There are also dangers connected to it because you're opening yourself up to consciousness that you're not ready for. What does that mean? Entities exist on different levels, and if you're unprotected, unprepared, and you're just exposing yourself to chemicals like that, you're making yourself very vulnerable. And a lot of people damage themselves by using those things. So I'm not a big fan. I'm actually not a fan of psychedelics at all because it's used in the wrong way by most people. I know that it's kind of like on vogue, and it's really like cool to say that you went on an ayahuasca trip and you saw God, and now you're a completely changed person, an individual. I mean, these things are not supposed to be used in that way. For where you go like on an ayahuasca trip for a week and then come back into your normal life again, and then do everything exactly the same as before. Big deal. So if a dream is warning you, well, you will usually you will be able to tell. It's just a gut instinct. you know. It's a gut instinct. Also, what you need to do is basically pay attention to your dreams, have a dream journal, and then also see what happens in your real life. And then you will be able to tell, your observations. Let's say you had a warning in a dream that felt like it was a warning, and then you see something in the world happen and it actually relates to that, then you will know next time. Sometimes you will just have negative memories running through your system and it doesn't mean anything, so you have to observe yourself. There's another thing that people often use, which is these dictionaries of dream symbols. I would not use them because everybody has their own symbols, and you have to observe your own dreams. You have to observe your own unconscious and what goes on there, and over time you will be able to interpret your own dreams very, very well. But you have to really observe yourself. See, the psychic development stuff, the journey that you take within, it's a process, and you have to really dedicate yourself to it. That's something that you can consume and just, like a pill, and things work. It's something that you have to stay focused on. And your journal, dream journal, magical journal, journal of psychic experiments, all of that stuff develops over time. Yeah. Sure. So, how do you begin to unravel trauma in your aura? Um, well, similar to what I was describing earlier, you basically have to, um, uh, first of all, if it's real trauma, you're going to have a hard time uh, eh, being aware of it because it's usually like buried. You know, trauma that we're aware of is usually no trauma. It doesn't have a real effect on us anymore, at least not on our behavior. So first of all, what you're basically saying is, how do you make the unconscious conscious? And you have to, I mean, use certain techniques that run energy through your system and then allow the subconscious to communicate to you, basically bring up what is bothering it. There are different techniques that you can use for that. We're going to cover them in the program, and then they're gonna show themselves. The traumas are going to show themselves based on the emotional blocks and the emotional charge that you have unconsciously. I know that's a little bit of a broad description of how it works, but uh, the program, I'm definitely going to make it extremely concrete. Yeah. Concrete, applicable, and very, very usable for sure. Yeah. So I'm gonna stay on for like 5 more minutes, then I'm gonna wrap this up for today. Can I still send models to you? Yes, absolutely. Of course. Yes, absolutely. The more the better. Of course. Yeah. Okay. Do we have any other questions, guys? Anything that you would like to know? Anything that you want to comment on? Uh, can I still send the sigil for the uncrossing ritual? Yeah, sure. Send it through. How prevalent is Anubis in your practice? Currently, not at all. Currently, not at all. Have you done Wicca magic before? Wicca magic? Almost none, to be honest. Almost none. Frank, does watching things like the new celebrity gossip reality shows lower our vibrations? Definitely lowers your IQ. That's for sure. Um, okay. Um, okay. Yeah, gonna wrap it up now. So, have you discussed in the post we should be thoughtful about what media we consume because it impacts our practice goals and flow? Can you elaborate on that? You have discussed in the post in the past, is what you're trying to say, right? Should be thoughtful about what media we consume because it impacts our practice goals and what flow. Can you elaborate on that? I mean, it's very simple. It's basically just you have a certain amount of energy throughout the day. You have a certain amount of mental focus. You should put that focus on the things that you want to have, right? Because that's what you're going to create. You have two choices: either you feed your own goals or you feed the agenda of somebody else, and that's really it. It's that simple. So you got to make a conscious choice of where you put your attention. And I recommend that you avoid the things that don't benefit you. It's that simple. Yeah, it's really that simple. Okay, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up now. The program is coming, and I talk to you soon. Be well. Bye bye.